Morning, it's Martin from Martin's Engine Services. Well, welcome to West Norfolk on this it's rather nice morning now. It's a little bit chilly, but the biblical rain has finished from last night and seems to have cleared the air, so it was rather pleasant out there. Anyhow, there's Project Peugeot out there. I'll come back to that in a moment. So, what's happening in the workshop on Wednesday? Well, lots of things are happening today. I've got the head gasket and replacement bolts for the 1.4 stock car engine, the Vauxhall unit, where we've had the suspected problem with the new head bolts. Certainly wasn't taking any chances on that. So I've removed the cylinder head, as you can see. I've checked it out and couldn't see anything sort of obvious with regard to the gasket fitment, but here is the gasket. And I do notice that it hasn't really clamped down as efficiently as you'd hoped. Now, I was not going to take a chance in changing the bolts. So this engine probably has got to go to a big championship meeting in a couple of weeks, so under 2 weeks now. So we're going to replace it with another gasket and another set of bolts that I've used before, and that will solve that problem. The Ford 1.4 Puma unit, hidden under the old polythene here. Everything's cleaned up, ready to go now. So I received the crankshaft the other day. I gave that a clean up and really is a good unit. Rather pleased with that. Got it covered up here on the bench at the moment, so I've cleaned it all up, but I can't get it out the plastic. That's it anyhow. Here we go. See, the journals have cleaned up very nicely. They've got a very nice finish on them. Polished up very well. So it was quite a clean crankshaft, and I've measured it up and it's absolutely perfect. So that's a good result there. So a few of the parts have arrived. Getting everybody dizzy, swinging around. So a few of the parts have arrived there. Got a few more parts on their way today. One slight disaster with one part as usual. I'm here all day. Oh, we tried to deliver your part, you weren't in. Wrong. But we know that happens. And over here on the bench is the head from the Puma, 1400 Puma engine. And see, all the valves are done. I've now got to start putting the head together. Got the valve stem oil seals. These, of course, are that really good design, which is a pretty much perfect design. Whereas you've got the seal inside, push it down, and then the valve spring sits nicely on the top of the seal, so it can't come off. So the washer that protects the cylinder head from the rotation of the valve spring is built in the bottom, and it's a great unit. I think the first time Ford's introduced these was the upgraded version on the CVH engine, because they used to throw stem seals off for fun, and this was a much better solution. They originally just had a washer and then the stem seal. So you threw the washer away, fitted the updated unit, and you really didn't have any more problems with them falling off. In fact, with a little bit of careful adaptation, the CVH ones could actually be used on the Pinto. Because I used to build quite a few Pintos for 2 litre hot rods, and then my own engine, and I actually modified the cylinder head slightly to seat this washer, and then the CVH stem seal worked, so you didn't have the problem of the stem seals popping off, especially when you're using a high lift camshaft and there was a lot of travel on the valves. So that worked well. What we had to do on the Pintos was the fact that the valve springs, when they were installed and clamped up, had to be, let me think, 1.5 inches from the underside of the cap to the base of the head. Otherwise, when the camshaft was on full lift, the centre coils would actually bind up. And then, of course, that would damage the cam and the valve springs. And there was quite some variation in the cylinder heads from factory. So my dad actually made up a cunning tool with a cutter head on it and a depth stop, so you can actually put it onto the head and machine the actual seat where the valve spring sits, actually machine that down into the head and work out the actual installed height of your valve spring. So as long as you made sure that, so let me get this right, it was a long time ago, you had to have 40 thou clearance on the centre 2 coils with the valve fully open and no valve clearance. That's it. You set the valve clearance to 0. That's how we did it. So when we fitted these type stem seals, We then machined out of the head the thickness of that, so it all worked out, and it works very well. It was quite a crafty modification. Prior to that, my somewhat ad hoc solution was to clean the cylinder head around the valve stem thoroughly with brake cleaner, and then actually super glue the seals on, and they tended to stay on remarkably well. So pleased with that idea, because they were always coming off. So that's a bit of nostalgia on that one. I will be assembling the cylinder head today. I won't bring you along for that, because there's nothing that exciting about watching someone struggling to fit 16 valve springs down in the recesses of the tappet bores. I will do a brief video on adjusting the valve clearances and the process for doing that, because obviously these are shimmed and it's quite an involved process. So I'll make a little video on that, possibly this afternoon or maybe tomorrow. I mean, obviously my priority is to get the GM unit finished, so they can either put that in the car or we repair the one in the car, one of the two. Now, this isn't an urgent one. I might sort of get on with it over the next few days, maybe finish it by the end of the weekend, but I'll make a few videos along the way. So, Project Honda, sitting over here in the dark. It's a bit light on the subject. There it is. It's all now ready to go for its MOT this afternoon, so we're really hoping all goes well. So you can't see any major problems. So it looks nice and shiny in there. I've done a bit of welding, and I've just been round this morning, going to check all the levels and the lights again. And just giving the battery a bit of a charge up. It's been doing the inevitable stop start for the last couple of weeks, and I thought I should make sure. But she's all ready to go, so that'll be this afternoon's job. Now, moving on to Project Peugeot. We had some result yesterday, but unfortunately, we've had a few problems. And let me think about it. Put the head on, went okay. Yeah, I put everything on, didn't assemble the front of the engine completely. I just wanted to run it. Started up and ran okay, warmed it up, water circulated fine, no problems overheating, no pressure in the cooling system, fan come on and off, all happy days. Then the radiator decided to spring a leak along the bottom somewhere. It appears to be the original radiator, and I presume basically what happened is, they dry out. It's been without water a couple of weeks, and now it's leaking all the way along the bottom. Great. So, oh well. So I put the auxiliary belt and alternator, everything back on, and now the alternator, although charging, got contaminated with oil from the blown cylinder head gasket. And it now sounds basically like someone strangling a cat. It's screaming and whining and squawking something alarmingly. So I thought, oh, blimey, here we go. So I thought, okay, that's added another little problem to the mix. So I may end up just selling this as spares or repair, because I don't think I want to go to the expense of putting an alternator on it, a radiator in it. Needs probably a couple of tyres, and then MOT it and see if there's anything else wrong with it. So, being of the age it is and what its actual value is, it might just have come to its end. Well, not really its end, but its end with me, shall we say. Someone else could deal with those bits quite easily. I don't want to put a bunch of money into it for no real gain. I mean, the Honda obviously is a similar age vehicle, but I haven't had to spend very much. In fact, I spent very little on this car. I mean, obviously the welding wasn't the problem. The brakes were cheap, easy fix. It doesn't need any other parts, so this one is one of those ones that's worth pursuing. And as you know, I like saving these older cars and bits and pieces, but you've got to draw a line somewhere where you just don't know completely what you're up against. Well, I know what I'm up against here now. So I thought, oh well, at least it runs okay. So it's a sweet engine. It sounds absolutely lovely. There's no fault codes, no warnings. Everything on the vehicle actually works all right. Air conditioning works. So somebody wants to invest maybe a couple of £100 in it, they could probably get themselves a cheap car. I mean, both those repairs aren't a big job, but obviously a rad's going to cost about £50, £45, £50. I'm not going to put a second-hand one in because I'm not going to put an old rad in. Probably pick up an alternator, maybe used, probably maybe sort of £30, £40 or whatnot. But the problem is, it also obviously needs a few other bits and bobs. you're going to be heading into maybe spending another sort of £200 in parts plus an MOT, or with the MOT rather, and the tyres. So before you know it, you spent £350 on what is a £450 car, and you're never quite sure what may manifest itself. If it wasn't for the tyres, I'd probably take it for an MOT, and then it wouldn't be so bad. But unfortunately, obviously, it's going to cost you at least £20 plus for a part worn tyre. So straight away, that adds, say, £50 to it, and that negates a lot of the profit. I'll have a think about it, because I don't like to give up easily on these things. But so none of it's hard, none of it's a big job to do, but it's all bits that suddenly add £40s and £50 here and there. So we shall see. So anyhow, the sun's breaking through nicely, all rather civilised. So what I'm going to do this morning, I'm going to get organised, and oh yes, more tea, need you ask. I'm going to stick the stem seals in there and stick all the valve springs in. So that is a very, very tedious job on these. It's even worse than the Vauxhall unit, because the valve springs and the valve caps are so much smaller than the GM ones, and the space in the head is even less. And the collets, well, these tiny little things, they are very fiddly. So I tend to do them in 4 at a time, walk away for a minute, do another 4 valves, and work my way through that way. There's no hurry. I say this, it's just a, well, I need it. They need it for in sort of 2 or 3 weeks' time, so I'll just plod away at it while I'm waiting for the rest of the parts to arrive. So lots going on today, so I shall get on with that. So it looks nice and tidy in here now. I've sorted all the bits out from the Peugeot, and it got a bit chaotic in here on was it Monday, and I've lost the days. Well, if it's Wednesday today, Martin, it must have been Tuesday and Monday you did the Peugeot. Well done. Got it, folks. So it's all nice and organised. Engine's lined up, I like it. Bits all there. Toolbox is all tidy. Everything's ready to go. So I'll leave you with that. Thanks so much indeed for watching. Hope you enjoyed the what's happening in the workshop on Wednesday. And I'll crack on with that. And like I say, I'll probably make a video about doing the cams and basis of doing the valve clearances on those. I mean, if you actually videoed that all live, it'll run into 2/3 of a day, and watching a man measuring valve clearances is, once you've seen one, you've seen them all. So, thanks very much indeed for watching. Please like and subscribe. All my numbers on YouTube are going in the right direction, which is really, really good news. And I'll leave you with that. So, thanks for watching, and bye for now.